Oh no. So, good evening, everybody. Today is October 19, 2021. This is the Hannah City Village Council meeting. If everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, tonight.
Hey, Caleb, I don't know, is it real spotty on your end? The audio is really spotty.
Yeah, it's getting pretty fuzzy on mine too.
Okay.
Everybody should have a copy of the October 5th, 2021 meeting minutes. Any adjustments or corrections that need to be made? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Weaver, second by Pearson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And everybody should have a copy of the treasurer's report. If you haven't taken a look at it, take a moment, look at it.
Okay.
And to talk about the Verizon.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report and pay all outstanding bills.
Second.
Motion by Weaver, second by Gates. Discussion. We also had a bill. Laura, you want to talk in references?
Well, the Verizon bill, one of the phones went out of country and got a charge of $644.91.
So this is my fault. Tom was going on a trip to Canada and he doesn't have a cell phone, and he said, I just want to text my wife at night and let her know that I'm okay and things are fine. And I assumed there would be a roaming charge and that we would figure out how to deal with that when we came back. Either Tom or I would take care of it or whatever. I didn't realize it was going to be $600, but to be honest with you, it's my mistake. I'm willing to pay for it. I don't think the taxpayer should have to. I told him he could do it. And in my opinion, the stand-up thing for me to do since I approved it is to pay for it, and I'm okay doing that. So,
did you call Verizon and ask them? Because you might be able to get international for 1 month put on there.
You can't at this point. Tony and I were on the phone with them, and Tony went off the line, and they asked me if I wanted to stop all data on the phone. I didn't feel that that was my decision to make. So,
Like I said, I'm comfortable reimbursing it. It's my screw up. I need to own it. And at the end of the day, I gave Tom permission to do it, so he did it under my approval. And so I feel bad with asking him to pay it at this point. And so,
And one thing that we also need to think about, Tom's phone, even though we authorized him to go ahead and use, the data to go ahead and text his wife. One thing that also needs to be brought up on this is, and Lori can attest this, that his phone has been using a lot of data. I went in and removed just as much stuff as I could on it, and it was still, when I checked it last time, it was still pulling data. So he may not have been using it all the time, and if it was still pulling data, once it was on that pay-as-you-go, it's just going to keep going.
so we think there could be an issue with the phone or how the phone's set up or something, a program's running that we're not aware of or what have you. So that's part of the issue as well. Because I don't think the roaming charges would have been that high had there not been something like that going on.
But if we figured out there was an issue with the phone, that wouldn't necessarily affect the charge from Verizon.
No, it's on us.
Yeah.
no, if we had shut the data off and killed the phone, but then of course, if there was an emergency, he would have been just up there. Personally, I sent my daughter to Europe and I had to call Verizon and get an international plan. He knew that it's a taxpayer phone. It's not his personal, so he could have gotten a burner phone to use for that. I don't think that it should be Brian, although,
I guess the other issue we have
I think he should have to pay for a portion of it.
The other issue we have is we have other people that have, village cell phones, which I'm sure are used for personal on occasion from time to time as well. So, I don't want to, unless you guys think that that's the appropriate thing where we tell people that you can't use it for personal use at all.
Well, it's not out of country though.
I understand. And again, like I said, I would feel bad asking the taxpayers to pay for it. It's my mistake, my error. I approved it. And at the end of the day, I'm willing to stroke a check and be done with it. That's just the way I feel. I feel like it's my error and I'm willing to step up and take care of it. But at the end of the day, I'll yield to whatever you all decide or whatever you think is right.
The thing is we don't know if, how much of that was the data leakage or how much he was using it. So, I still don't feel comfortable making you pay all that. So,
I don't know if it would be up for us to say who should pay it other than who should not pay it. And we could say that we shouldn't pay it, but is it up to us to say, but you have to?
Not necessarily. And like I said, I'm offering. So,
us as a village, we're going to pay it no matter what. So, how we get that back is another thing. So,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, my other question is, he, like she said, he knew he was going to Canada, and why doesn't he have a cell phone? If he wants to text his wife, he should have his own cell phone to do that.
understand.
So I guess I'm looking at it too as he should have had to go and ask about international, because anybody I've ever talked to, and I used to work for these people, everybody calls in when they're going overseas, and overseas can be Canada. Everybody calls in and asks about it because they know what roaming charges are like. I know it's changed a lot that they don't charge you roaming charges when you're in another state anymore. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say who should pay. But
Like I said, he contacted me and asked, and what I should have said is, I guess maybe what I want to be careful to do is if we're saying that people can't use their work cell phones for personal use at all, then that's another thing, right? I'm happy if that's what this group decides, then that's what we'll do. Or if we're saying only if it's international, then we can set that rule. Tom reached out to me. I'm his boss, asked for my permission. I gave it to him. I didn't think the roaming charge was going to be that much. In my mind, I was thinking if it's $20 or $25, whatever, I'll just pay it and be done with it. It's trying to do him a favor. I know we've got other people that use their cell phones for personal use. I don't know if it was the data issue that we've got that caused the number to be so big, but at the end of the day, it's and if you're saying that you want me and Tom to sort it out personally, we can do that. I can work it out with him, and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, because they're going to charge you for everything he put out, every text he sent, and they're going to charge you for every text he received.
Yeah, and if the data was running for some reason in the background like we think it is, then all that data was being charged. And I think that's why it's so high. But again, we have to confirm that. So.
Yeah, why is it so high in Canada, but the rest, I mean, his monthly data looks like what, around 3,300, but this is 320,000.
Those are kilobytes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But I mean, why is it so high there?
Yeah, that's just like a 1024.
Is that like a roaming thing?
Yeah, it's like 1.3 gig, which really isn't a lot.
Hey, Tony, I got somebody here wanting to admit there's no name. You want me to admit them? And you ask them who they are.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. It's me. Can you guys say it's Caleb?
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to use my phone for audio because I can hardly hear anything on the computer. It's so broken and garbled, I can't make out anything hardly. I'm seeing if I can use the phone for audio.
Okay, so you're gonna mute the other one, or did you mute?
You already did.
Okay. We got you.
Yeah, I muted the other one.
Can you hear better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Need better internet. Sign up for fiber.
Well, the phone's garbled though. I'm on a cell phone.
So
That is really a tough one.
I mean, us as a village, we're going to pay it anyway.
Can you guys hear me fine?
You're cutting in and out a little bit, but yeah.
Did you want to weigh in on this issue, Caleb?
Yeah, who pays for it really isn't up to the village. If the village isn't going to pay for it, but Brian, Tom, I mean, that's kind of between who's paying for it. I don't, can't force somebody to pay their part if somebody else is volunteering to do it. Phone issue, we may want to look at it in the future. People a credit for their phone. That way we don't have to worry about if they go over on, yeah, that's a pretty common thing now, is just to say, here's $50 a month towards your phone. That's going to cover what you use it at work. It's your own personal phone. You break it, you buy, you go over on data, that's on you. We're just forcing you using it at work, and then you don't have to worry about owning these phones and being the data police and everything. It's a lot easier.
I think the one issue we may have is does that open us up? Does that open up the individual's personal phone now to the FOIA requests?
It might.
If they have their village email on there.
Mm-hmm. But FOIA is typically just for records prepared by or for the public body. And there's a whole laundry list of exemptions, and there's a bunch of reasons why you can do redactions. But I think, some of that might be reachable by FOIA on the personal phones.
I mean, at the end of the day, I know as long as I'm here, I've learned my lesson. I'm going to tell people the answer is no, right, if you're going to be international. So
There's $50 for a burner. You go get one of them. Say that.
I think what I hear you guys saying is you guys are going to go ahead, the village is going to go ahead and pay it. Somebody's going to reimburse it, but you don't care who reimburses it.
Yeah, I don't feel right asking the taxpayer to reimburse.
Nor do I.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
So the motion to approve and pay all outstanding would stand with the direction that I need to sort out who's going to reimburse the village for that amount.
Correct.
Got it.
Any further discussion on that?
The audio's horrible.
The only thing I would say is if somebody would want to do the research and find out if that was leaking or whatever that data was on, you can get on your knees and ask them, please take some off, because it's so expensive. And a lot of times they'll do that.
Yeah, I can
Because
take that.
we are a good customer. We have a lot of phones. We're paying our bills on time and all that stuff, and that has a lot to do with it. At least it did when I worked for them.
That's an interesting point, that if the phone itself has an issue with it, that would be up to us to fix that issue. If that issue was the cause of some of this pricing, then that's something I'd consider taking a look at. But
I've gotten the report, and I think if it was, something continuously running in the background using it, it wouldn't be sporadic, like, a gig here and way a timeline different, it would be consistent.
So you did.
I mean,
get
I'm not
copy
a
of all the
technical,
Yeah. No, if it was
But-
left on, it would just continuously.
Well,
Go.
I'll take the assignment of following up with Verizon to see if there's anything they can do or that can be done about the number. And then if not, we'll reimburse whatever we can. If we get a break on it, then we'll reimburse whatever we have to pay.
okay.
So, a motion by Weaver, second by Gates. So we'll roll call it. Johnson?
Yes.
Sidak?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Gates?
Yes.
Weaver? Yes. Motion carries. Mr. Brandon, what do you got, sir?
Caleb, is the sound any better now?
No, sir. No, it's really bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have much. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have much to report anyway, so I'll say nothing and then hop off. But my understanding is we're all done with the MFT program. Lori, Brian, I haven't seen any invoices. Have you?
We've processed some, I think, but not the big one.
Right, exactly. Not the last one here. So upon receipt of that, we'd like to review the quantities, make sure everything's up to snuff, and then present to you for payment. But we have not yet seen those, to my knowledge.
seal coating. Really?
That's all I have.
Maybe they were waiting because I know they came today to sweep for the last time, so maybe they were waiting until that was done to send the invoice.
They would be, and I didn't know if they were able to get out there last week with the weather or not. So if they swept today, then that's probably forthcoming, and then we will review and submit for approval. Again, I can't hear hardly anything, so that's all I have to report. If anybody else has any questions.
Anybody else have any questions for Brandon?
We're good, Brandon. No, we're good.
All right, you guys have a great meeting. I'm gonna hop off.
All right. Did we ever find out? Oh, that's Caleb.
So down to attorney's report. Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things on my list today, both of which are in your packets. There's an ordinance amending our water billing cycle. I think this was just sparked by our code isn't entirely in line with when our water bills have been going out and when we're requiring payments. So we're just trying to help facilitate some uniformity in our water billing cycles and change the code accordingly. So anyone who goes and visits our code online knows when their water bill is going to be sent and when it's going to be due. The second one was or is an ordinance rezoning. This property over on North Pekin Lane doesn't have a numbered common address, but it's been a vacant lot for as far as we can see on GIS. It looks like they go about to 1939. There's never been a structure there. This is where Mid-Century wants to put their fiber cabinet, sort of to, I think, to house maybe all their wiring or just centralize it. And we figured this would be a good idea. Planning Commission met last night. They made a recommendation to this board to approve the rezoning. It's currently zoned residential. We would need to change it to a commercial zoning class. So we elected with B4. It's the low impact industrial zoning class. There's homes to the north and I think to the west of it. There's other commercial properties immediately south and east, or I'm thinking south and west is where the car wash and Casey's are, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Casey's is due west, car wash is due south. There's homes to the north and to the east across the street.
Okay, right. So those are the only two ordinances up. That's really all I have to report on tonight, but I'm happy to discuss those further when we get to them.
Is there a, legally, do you have to give so many days for a bill?
From the time they receive it to the time they pay it.
Who are we talking about here?
Water bill.
Yeah.
Oh, the water bill.
I mean, basically, we're increasing it. We're going from they get we used to, the ordinance says that the bills are sent out on the 1st. They have till the 15th. Is that what the current ordinance says?
It was.
10th, I thought.
We sent it on the
10th?
1st,
Maybe.
and they got it. It had to be paid by the 10th. When I got here, I gave them out around the 18th or 19th. So they got them a week early. I didn't hold the bills until the 1st. And then when we switched it, it went from them receiving it like the 5th or 6th, and it's due on the 20th.
Correct.
Right.
And that's what we're updating the ordinance to say, that they're mailed on the 3rd, they're due on the 20th.
Because it sounds like if we tried to enforce what the ordinance says, everybody would be upset.
Well, we're just, basically what we're doing is we're reassigning the current ordinance is out of date because we switched our billing cycle.
Correct.
So all we're doing is bringing this ordinance so it matches what our current billing cycle is. That's the only thing we're doing with this one.
But then even it was 10 days. I mean, legally, is there a certain amount of time? Because I know I get bills on my side, and I get them and they're due 8 days later. You know, I don't know if that's slow in the mail or, you know, a kind of a thing, but sure. I'm like, geez, you know, we're at least giving 2 or 3 weeks.
I know. I think the change is going to give them, if bills are going out on the 3rd and they have it till the 20th, I think a 17-day payment period. In terms of what I've seen in the statutes, I haven't seen a required time window, but even if there was, we're probably well within it, or at least we're not billing and requiring payment the same day that they receive a bill, which I'm sure there might be something on, but in terms of what we're doing, I didn't see anything wrong. And the statutes give municipalities pretty broad discretion to manage and maintain their water systems and their combined system of waterworks and sewerage. So I think this falls within what the legislature contemplated with maintaining and managing those systems. So yeah, in essence, I don't see a problem from a legal standpoint.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Michael. Mr. Baylor.
So, all I've got is the financials in your packet. You got the financials for I guess would be the fifth month of the fiscal year. Slide 2, you'll see, follow the center column down. That's the key column. We had income of $132,114 for the month for the core funds, and expenses of $77,626. So we were positive $54,488. Most of that is we've been very conservative on the budget. That's also every month we're underspent, and then the income is up $51,000. Some of that is property tax timing. It's just come in, but the sales tax was up too, so that was good. It meant that there was some activity in town on the sales tax side. If you look at then column 3, it shows the individual funds and each of those core funds. So again, general was up by $40,332, and most of that is on the income side. And then sanitation also receives property tax, so that was why it was so much higher on the income side. So that kind of explains, but a good month nonetheless. If you look at MFT, we were actually overspent for the month, but if we talked about this last time, our plan for the year was the amount of money that comes in for the year is only going to cover a portion of the total MFT funds. We're using some of the stored money that we have to cover some of the others, so the MFT is going to be overspent. It's just now we're starting to see those expenses come in and overtake the income that we've received so far this year. TIF is slightly positive again, $1,360 for the month, so that's good. We're seeing TIF income come in. BDD was $12,000 income for the month and limited expenses, so we're still seeing BDD positively move forward. You look at then year-to-date, slide 7, center column down, so year-to-date we're $633,508 in terms of income. Remember that we've got $81,000 in that income that was that one-time only for the Recovery Act that came in. So it would be $63,508 minus that 81. On the expense side, we're $390,186, so that puts us at $273,322 to the good through 5 months. If you take the 81 out, we're $192 positive, so about $200,000 positive through the first 5 months. So we're running a surplus monthly of roughly $38,000 to $40,000 right now. So again, that's real positive, and that doesn't count the surplus we're running in TIF or BDD. Those dollars are in addition to that. So that's really good. And then if you look at year-to-date core funds, I'll just point out water is showing that we are positive, but keep in mind that that's where that 81,000 sits is in there. So we're actually, water would be the only one that's a little bit negative. It would be what, 7,000, 8,000 roughly negative. Would be the only fund that year to date would be not carrying its own water, pun intended. If you look at the MFT year to date, well, the expenses have not yet overcome the income year to date through the first 5 months. But once we get that big tar and chip number, that bill comes in. Like I said, they swept today, so we'll probably be getting that. So that'll probably overtake that, I would guess, in the next couple of months. TIF year to date, we're up $4,000. BDD year to date, we're up $48,000, almost $49,000. So that's all good. Cash is king. If you look at slide 12, we ended the 2021 fiscal year with $1,316,259 in cash. We're sitting right now at $1,651,934. So that's an increase in cash year over year of $335,671. Back out the $81,000, and it's $255,000. So we've got $255,000 more dollars in the bank than we had a year ago, even when you back out that 81. So everything's trending positive. Final summary, I think I've covered most of this. September was a positive month, $54,000. That was tax related. Water was negative for the month, though, at $3,200 negative for the month on water, which again indicates I think we've made good progress on the water rates, but we may want to do something else. And if we get the RCAP information in, that'll help us further understand whether or not we want to take some additional action beyond the 2.7% that we've got budgeted already for the beginning of the year. Year to date, we're positive. BDD and TIF are positive. MFT was negative for the month, but positive year to date, and cash flow is positive. So even with backing out the ARPA funding, so I don't think there's really any bad news. The only thing would be, the only place for improvement would be is making sure our water rates cover our regular water expenses.
That's it.
That's it.
Let you talk for like an hour or so.
No, only when Caleb's here to annoy.
Be glad he's got COVID then.
So the sound is better now.
Really?
Is it?
I guess not.
Well, he texted me and said it was better. I think what happened was a wire must have come loose because we weren't hardwired. It was going through the Wi-Fi. So I think that's fixed now, and I think that's what made it better.
It's better.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brian. That brings us to committee reports. Finance, Mr. Johnson.
If there's something I don't know about it. End of report.
Well done.
Nothing on the agenda, so end of report.
Sanitary sewer gates.
Nobody's contacted me with any bad news, so everything's good.
Really, your last meeting? You still have to
We
Not really.
Yeah. Never mind. We just talked. We didn't want to publicize that because of.
We're gonna get our ducks in a row first.
Yeah.
We have one issue with one resident that might be flushing some things that they shouldn't flush, but we want to confirm that.
We'll get that taken care of.
Know that before we.
You gonna stake the house out, or
No,
We actually already have pictures and stuff, but we just.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Streets and alleys, Mr. Weaver.
I got two estimates on the seal coating for the parking lot. One was for $1,900 from Purdue, and the other one was $1,600 from Scott Hare. I would like to have Scott Hare go ahead and do it. The thing is it's getting late in the season. He has tomorrow available. So he'd like to do it tomorrow.
So the question I think we need to ask is, this wasn't on here to vote, but we approved the project to stripe the main street.
Did we approve an expenditure not to exceed a certain amount? Okay.
It was 1,500 and we spent
by
we're
$100.
exceeding.
All but 50. You took $50 off.
So can we authorize the work and vote on it at the next meeting, or is that breaking the rules?
To ratifying it? Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't think we could authorize it tonight when it's not on the agenda for this amount, or we didn't I shouldn't say appropriate, but expend that much.
What about for emergency work, since it's coming to due at the end of the year, and this is the end of the season? And if he's got an available slot where he can get us in.
Let me ask my standard question.
I agree, there's an argument to be made there.
Isn't
don't
that
get the
special
invoice.
circumstances or something?
I would think that would fall within extenuating circumstances to allow it.
Let me ask
If
my
we
standard. I'm sorry.
If we don't get the invoice until next board meeting.
Oh, and then we just approve the invoice at the next meeting.
Yeah.
That could be okay.
I'd like to date it.
I didn't say
Because it's already authorized.
That's called calendar manipulation. I don't know.
Let me ask my standard question.
Can you
What's
give us
what's the
two
risk?
separate
Yeah, what's the risk
invoices?
we're taking if we say that we have extenuating circumstances?
Well, if a slap on the wrist or it could be a Class C misdemeanor violation of the Open Meetings Act for everybody, I don't want to advise.
Understand?
Take that
You
route.
shouldn't. You should give us your strong legal opinion. And
Yeah, I won't pay no fine on my last meeting.
I know. Can we table this for a minute and I can get Bill on the phone or text him, see if he has an idea?
Yeah, we can come back to it. We can table it and come back to streets and alleys.
Sure.
Okay, the other item here was sending Roger to a class for, it's a municipal engineering fundamentals for non-engineers. It's a 2-day training, which has
It's got a lot of good stuff in it.
a lot. Yeah, it's a busy 2 days. Everything from
Roadways to waterways to sanitary to water treatment, water distribution.
it's $995. The accommodations is $125 a night.
And it's in Madison, Wisconsin.
It's in
So there would be
Madison,
some.
Wisconsin. It's on November 9th and 10th, which I think is like a Tuesday, Wednesday.
No, the 5th is a Tuesday. I think. Maybe. I don't know.
So he would
No,
go
it's-
up on the 8th and stay the 9th and
Probably.
come home on the
Yeah,
10th.
he would have to stay the 8th and 9th, then come back on the 10th.
Yeah, so you're right. 8th is a Monday, 9th is a Tuesday.
The class doesn't get out until 4 p.m. Then the second day on the 10th.
Yeah. Well, Madison's not that far.
Well, what we've done with the other training is we've approved the training in what did we call it? The
Customary expenses.
customary expenses. We didn't go into. As you can see, this actually came in the mail to Al Swearingen, but Roger saw it and started reading through it and reading who should attend, and then he started looking at the stuff on it, and given his new responsibilities, he was excited about the opportunity to go up and learn. So.
So I would make a motion that we send Roger up to this these classes and pay the $995 for the class fee, along with the $250 for the accommodations.
I would say accommodations at $125 a night, just in case there is possibility. Then he doesn't get stuck footing the bill for that other night.
Yeah. And then customary per diem.
Second.
We have a motion by Weaver, second by Sidak. I can't remember his name now. But yeah, I would recommend when we do that, we just put in for whatever the nightly rate is. That way, in case there is an extenuating circumstance, vehicle breakdown or something, or they get stuck getting out of class late and it's later, then he doesn't end up putting the bill for that other night if he had to stay. So, any other discussion? We'll roll call it. Sidak,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I just have a quick question. So your usual and customary. So if I remember right, we pay gas, not mileage.
Mileage.
Okay, we pay
not
mileage. Hotel. What do we do with food?
Food, there is a standard per diem. Typically, so you're allowed a certain amount. Typically, they just bring receipts back.
All right. I just want to make sure I know what to tell Roger because I think this would be his first
Yeah.
trip.
But there's like a continental breakfast,
Yeah, a lot of them, I mean, some of mine,
And if they're all
they
day,
have
then probably,
food all
Yeah.
day.
I think there's a,
we'll probably have to pay for one meal.
there's a continental breakfast and lunch provided
Okay.
in the class.
Okay, so it's just
So he would just have to do dinner.
got it.
Yeah, just have you make sure he brings the receipt back.
Okay. And we'll go ahead and, you still waiting on Bill's reply?
I got an answer.
Okay.
Shouldn't vote on it tonight.
Should.
Vote on it. Should not.
Should not.
Vote on it tonight. But what we can do is ask if everyone is on board with Brian going ahead and getting the seal code and taken care of, and then we ratify it. Okay, yeah. And then we just ratify it at the next meeting with a vote.
Okay.
So I think someone should ask, is anyone going to object to undertaking this expense?
Anybody gonna object? I can take that as a no. No one's going to object. So
We'll ratify it the next.
yeah. So go ahead and get with them, Rod.
All right, and I put it on my list for next meeting.
So I'm also get the striping done too.
Cool.
Hopefully
That's awesome.
he'll
They're gonna do it
charge us
tomorrow.
$50.
Huh?
Hopefully he'll charge us $50.
It'll probably be
So they're gonna do it tomorrow.
Huh?
They're gonna do it tomorrow.
yeah, because he gave us a $50 credit, but he also had mentioned that he underbid that job.
But that parking lot's not that big. So.
No, but he said he'd be fair. So,
He was nice to work with.
yeah, it sounds like he does work with a lot of different companies and school districts. And
Anything else, Rod?
that's it.
Okay. Mr. Pearson, water?
Do you want to do police and planning?
Who cares about Johnson? Police and planning?
It's got an ordinance.
3 to 10, 16. There were 18 incident reports.
I have no idea what you said.
18 reports.
Oh. 10-3 to what?
10-16.
October 16th.
Okay.
That first one's not coming through.
October 3rd through October 16th? Yes, okay. Thank you, Caleb.
And then the ordinance earlier to rezone the property.
No.
Caleb, can you read the whole thing?
No.
Really? Everybody's got it in front of them.
Did we?
Rezone from residential business behind.
Yeah, we had 10.
Part of it there.
Okay, so this will be 10:02.
Which one are we doing?
We're going to be doing ordinance number 21-10-02, an ordinance rezoning property located at North Beacon Lane, PIN number 16-10-203-010, and amending the zoning map accordingly. This takes it from residential low density 1 to B4 low impact industrial district. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Weaver, second by Gates. Any further discussion?
I would just note, don't need to file this ordinance with the county or the findings of fact. But, and this might be more of a Caleb question, I think the previous practice of the village has been filing these ordinances with the county so that they can update GIS for us for the rezoning. I think that's what we've been doing. Okay.
And we're saying filing, not recording. There's a difference. Recording costs, filing's free.
Yeah, we would need to record this against property. I don't
Okay.
think so.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll need a signed, sealed copy to take to the courthouse.
Motion is second. Any further discussion?
I think we should do roll calls. I don't know if you were going to do all ayes, but I think roll
I
call
was
just
going
because of Caleb being remote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Caleb had to spoil it. So, Pearson,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Johnson?
Yeah.
Sidak?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Do you want to talk to Mid Century or you want me to tell them?
I'll give Aaron a call.
Okay.
And let him know. In fact, I'll send him an email tonight.
Okay. Mr. Fogg.
Yeah. Is that the end of your police and planning, Caleb? Okay. Water?
Yes, sir. I have 5 checks for escrow refunds for a total of $240.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Five checks for $240.
Okay.
$21 total shutoffs for a total of $3,863.56. Zero level pay. 4 foreclosures for $511.93. And approximate gallons sold, 2,320,618.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I also have the ordinance that we spoke about earlier for changing the water billing cycle. So I would like to make a motion to approve the ordinance amending Title V, Chapter 51 of the Hannah City Village Code to modify the village's water billing cycle.
Second.
So I have a motion by Pearson, second by Sidak. Any further discussion?
What's the ordinance number?
Ordinance number will be 21-10-03.
I would just say a reminder, basically all we're doing is aligning the ordinance with the current practice.
What is currently happening?
Okay, can you contact that, you should just.
Already did. Already did. We have T floor.
Check always use the same template.
It is written in a different font than the other one. Yeah,
We're not
so they
spending
might be
money.
different.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The thumbs up, Caleb. Opposed, same. Motion carries. The ordinance approved. Anything else underwater?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Sidak, building the ground.
Well, I didn't hear any scathing remarks on Facebook, so I'm assuming the vaccination clinic went well. It was not as hands-on as it probably should have been. There was a slight hiccup from the beginning. We didn't exactly know if they got into the public works building or not. So I had to rush over there, but our glorious mayor was already there doing my work for me.
Somebody said the numbers were down. this year that we had only about
Well,
40.
There was like all those people sharing. And so I was planning on going up like an hour early just so I could get in line. And
I went there, there was like 10 on.
yeah, and when I was there, I mean, there was like 5 dogs. Mine was the most obnoxious, but
That's just because my dog was there. She is obnoxious.
oh,
She'd have barked at everybody.
that's what mine was too.
And I don't
Yeah.
think there was any lack of advertising. There's a lot of talk of it, and not just on Facebook. That people out and about. So
Yeah.
For some reason, I saw recently there was another small town near here that did one recently too. So maybe that was part of the deal.
Yeah. I mean, and what we used to do, we used to get people coming in from Peoria. I mean, they would drive all the way in from north and west side of Peoria and south side to bring their animals up here to get their shots done.
Well, I know everybody's been slammed because everybody bought pets during the lockdown. So all of the clinics and stuff were just totally packed. So everybody's going out and getting them already, most likely. At least we were able to take care of some.
Yeah.
Could you do one follow up
It's a
and find out how many shots we were able to give out?
in the future, I plan to give you guys. I hope to report on Roger's trip. That sounds really interesting. Love to see what he thinks about it. That could be for us. And then, have there been any big things in the Rails to Trails? Sure, I did.
I signed 2 letters, 2 representatives for the state that Fred sent to me to try to, so we could try to request them to push funding through to get that approved quicker, and actually get us a check in hand. Other than that, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, Fred told me that he thinks the funding is going to come in the next 30 days. We have to finish our GATA stuff, so once that's done, then he thinks they'll release it.
Do we have to put that in a separate checking account?
Yeah, that'll be another question because we might want to create a fund for that. I don't know if that requires us to vote or not. But all the money will come to us, and the money from the other entities will come to us. And now it's my understanding, because of the way the grant is written, that when the property is bought, in order to honor the details of the grant, the village of Hannah City will own all 24.7 miles of the trail. Now there's discussion as to do we lease that back then to the individual places, and who handles governance, all that's got to be worked out yet. But it looks like it's...
Now, why are we receiving it instead of another
Because
place?
we're the ones that applied for the grant.
Fred did the work to apply for the grant and did so in the name of the village of Hannah City. That's why.
Yeah, the whole thing will be considered the Hannah City Rails to Trails.
That's awesome.
And then the other thing that it brings up, as we've talked about before, is now any property along that, if we own it, I guess technically can be annexed. So
I think.
Yeah,
If
and
it's
that
contiguous.
goes all the way through up into Limestone, up to into Bellevue.
yeah,
So,
Wow.
I mean, there's one company that I've talked to already, which is Philippi Hegabaugh. I mean, they make $2 million, $3 million beds, manufacturing. So, and they would probably be happy not to fall under Peoria County.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. It has to be touching the property? Is that what you
It has to be touching or be encapsulated on 3 sides. Not right? Yeah. Caleb?
and then on the 3 sides we have to force them. They don't.
Right.
You can't hear.
Yep. Who's winning?
So we're all agreed. Caleb to take care of that and pay for it out of his budget.
Yeah, correct. So
I second that.
So that's where that stands. So that's good.
All right, great. I'll hope we have something
So
to
we
report
are
on by next
check.
Yeah. So what? I'm assuming we should open. Do we have to create a new checking account? Does that require any action? I wouldn't think so, but
I
We
mean,
should
the
certainly
board
keep the
has
funds
to-
separate.
Yeah,
Well,
they
the
need to be
finance
separate.
committee will have to.
Separate.
I'll hold their own meeting.
Yeah, the finance committee would probably have to hold their own.
Yep. Caleb will hold a meeting.
That's
Yep.
reasonable.
Okay.
Rules are different.
Well, in previous, they did, just like the sewer grant kind of a thing, had to have its own. But was the name, is the name officially going to be Hannah City?
I don't know that that's been decided. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know who gets decided, but that's the working title is
Hannah City.
Hannah
we should
City
just-
Rail or Hannah City Trail.
Yeah, and that's something we may need to reach out to Fred on just to confirm what the name of the
I don't think they've decided. I can tell you, I went to a
Actually-
meeting and you think they have decided?
No, what I'm saying is if it's coming to us, it should still be, if it's going to be our property and the grant's still coming to us, it still should be just under Village of Hannah City.
Okay. I can have that.
Because we're going to be paying out those funds as the Village of Hannah City since it's going to be our property.
Yeah, I think you're fine at this point calling it the Hannah City Trail Fund or account or whatever. And then any income that comes in, we should keep there, and any expenses we should run out of.
Yeah, that way we're
So I
not.
have to do it.
One more P&L.
That makes 5.
Time to leave.
You can hit him at any time. Just let us pause the camera.
Time to pack your bag.
Yep.
Oh, mercy.
I have nothing else to report.
Okay, thank you, Zach. Under other business, Halloween dates and hours to be set. Normally, if Halloween follows on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we normally just roll with that day. And it does follow on a Sunday this year. So October 31st, and what hours do we want to hold it from?
What have we done historically?
5 to 8.
5:15 to 7:52.
5 to 8. 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
How do we normally communicate that?
In the
What is
shopper.
everything?
Facebook,
So you'll,
Facebook and
webpage.
website.
do we need to vote on that?
You do. No, we shouldn't need to, but we're just publicizing. We're not actually spending.
Notice
any
I
money.
put vote just in case,
Yeah.
because if I didn't, you'd tell me I couldn't.
No.
Well, that's only if we had to spend money to
I'm just going to
publicize
put
it.
vote
Okay,
next to
yeah.
everything.
Put it on the website.
Right, and we can post it in Hannah City Happenings.
Yes.
Yep. I know the Park District, I guess, is doing a trunk or treat.
Yes,
And
this upcoming Saturday evening.
see, I didn't find any information on it.
I thought it was a trunk or trick. They scare you.
You can still sign up if you want to.
But see, I went like a couple days after that last meeting, and then I never went back to the Park District site. So
It should be there, but I can get you the information. I'll be there.
I'm sure I'll see all of you there.
Okay.
I'll be dressed as a clown.
As you are now.
I'll be dressed as the lead singer from Foghat.
You'll have to buy a wig for that one.
Yeah, that's right.
I know, it's probably,
It's all
bad, yeah.
He's probably losing his earring. So, well, before we adjourn, everybody knows this is Todd's last meeting. We want to say thank you for your service to the board and to the community. We hate to see you leave. We also hate to see your wife leave the planning commission.
We hate that more than not.
I know.
That's what she said last night, but I won't bet.
I know.
We thank you for everything that you've been able to do, helping with down the poo-poo pond, as Lori likes to put it. And we just hope you guys enjoy your time, travel, have some fun.
Yeah, we'll be back through, we still have 2 kids in this area, so we'll come back through. But-
Nancy said she wanted to use the trail once it's up and running.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, she's been talking about that, so.
yeah. She said she definitely was going to come back and work on the trail.
So, yep.
Thank you, Todd.
You know, we have, you know, our doctors and everything are still here. And we're using our daughter's address in Peoria, so, you know, we're still connected. It's just
How many years have you been on the board?
a 2, I think, 2.5, something like that. I don't know, whenever Chuck couldn't do it anymore. When did he quit?
We'll say 2.5.
Yeah.
We'll see. I was here.
It's not been a full
Round up to
4
3.
years, but it's getting close, I guess. Maybe another year.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I love doing it. It's just, I'm not a resident anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I am for the next like 4 days. And then I'm not a resident of Kansas City
You get a P.O. box.
You guys can dial in just for fun if you want to once in a while.
Yeah.
anymore. Oh, I might do that. I never thought about that.
Spend a
Yeah.
Tuesday evening.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure we do have your address though.
Okay.
Definitely. So we can keep in contact with you. If anything comes up, we can, if there's any fines or anything, we can send them your way.
Okay, yeah. I'll make up an address for you.
Well, thank you very much, Todd. I do appreciate it.
Here, here.
I sat to the right of you there for the time you were on the board, so, and you never hit me, so.
No, I've almost hit this pump here, but
See. So next board member is November 2nd, 2021. Any further discussion? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, Caleb.
Bye, Caleb. What?